HFY. The species the galaxy couldn't predict. ISA 2, the invasion that wasn't supposed to fail. The Concorde invasion fleet arrived silently. No dramatic light, no fiery entrance, just massive geometric warships sliding out of folded space beyond the moon's orbit. 3 Capitol-class vessels, 12 escort destroyers, hundreds of autonomous strike drones. From a purely technological perspective, Earth stood no chance. The Concorde did not rush. They never rushed. Precision was their doctrine. First, they deployed orbital suppression grids. Human satellites flickered and died again. Communication bandwidth dropped by 63% in under 10 minutes. Second, they activated atmospheric dominance platforms. Weather control systems began destabilizing jet streams. Storm fronts intensified. Coastal cities faced engineered tidal surges. Still no direct attack. The Concorde wanted surrender. They transmitted one clear message. Human governance structures are inefficient. Concorde stabilization will ensure survival. Resistance will be corrected. This time, humanity did not panic. Because this time, humanity had been waiting deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, hidden under layers of seismic masking fields. Project Leviathan powered on. Originally designed as an experimental climate control array, it had been quietly upgraded. Its real purpose: planetary electromagnetic manipulation. When the Concorde activated their atmospheric dominance systems, Leviathan responded, not defensively. Aggressively, it synchronized with Earth's natural magnetic field and amplified it in controlled pulses. The first pulse hit, without warning. Concorde atmospheric platforms destabilized, not destroyed, disrupted. Enough to break storm formation cycles. The Concorde adjusted instantly. They began orbital bombardment preparation. Target: Leviathan's suspected coordinates. But here was the problem. They didn't know the coordinates, because humanity had learned from the economic assault. Nothing critical was centralized anymore. Leviathan wasn't one facility. It was 37 interconnected nodes across oceans worldwide. Destroying one did nothing. Destroying 10 barely mattered. And while the Concorde searched, humanity launched Phase 2. Psychological warfare. Humanity broadcasted live footage of Concorde ships into every underground network across Earth. Not to create fear, but to create unity. The message was simple. This is not a government war. This is a species war. Volunteer enlistment rates surged globally. Not just military, engineers, coders, scientists, factory workers. Production tripled in under a week. The Concorde fleet initiated limited orbital strikes to test defensive capacity. Targets were uninhabited zones. Warning shots. Humanity answered anyway. From multiple hidden launch sites, hypersonic kinetic rods were fired toward Concorde destroyers. Primitive compared to alien plasma, but relentless. The Concorde shields absorbed most impacts, but shields consume energy. Energy requires recalibration, and recalibration creates windows. Human AI systems detected micro-fluctuations in shield harmonics. Within hours, weapon frequencies were adjusted. Impact efficiency increased by 18%. The Concorde noticed adaptive weapons recalibration detected, one commander reported. They escalated to drone deployment. Hundreds of autonomous strike drones descended into the upper atmosphere. Fast, precise, deadly. Cities braced for devastation. Instead, the drones encountered something unexpected. Jamming fields, not traditional electronic warfare. Biological interference. Human engineers had repurposed civilian 5G, satellite backup, and atmospheric research towers. The drones' targeting systems began hallucinating false positives. Entire formations veered off course. Some collided mid-air. Others crashed harmlessly into oceans. The Concorde had never encountered a species willing to weaponize its own civilian infrastructure so creatively. But the true turning point came from space. While the Concorde focused on Earth's surface, a group of human astronauts aboard a retrofitted research station executed Operation Mirror. Months earlier, humanity had secretly modified a decommissioned space telescope with experimental gravitational lensing emitters. Mirrorfall activated. Instead of firing weapons at Concorde ships, it bent sunlight. Focused solar radiation intensified into narrow beams. Not powerful enough to destroy, but strong enough to overload thermal sensors. Suddenly, Concorde ships lost precise targeting clarity. Temperature spikes triggered automated defensive cycles. For the first time since arrival, the Concorde fleet shifted into defensive posture. On Earth, cheers erupted across encrypted networks. Not because victory was near, but because impossibility was shrinking. The Concorde Council received live updates. Invasion resistance exceeds modeled parameters. Probability of swift subjugation dropped below 40%. For a civilization built on certainty, that number was unacceptable. So they made a decision, rarely invoked, authorization for full compliance enforcement, which meant no more warning strikes, no more limited suppression, total domination. Energy signatures built across their 3 capital ships. Planetary-scale weapons charging. Human sensors detected it instantly. Impact projections predicted continental devastation. And still, humanity did not surrender. Instead, something extraordinary happened. Every major world leader appeared simultaneously on global broadcast. No flags, no political symbols. Just one statement: we stand together. Then Black Sky Protocol activated. Hidden among thousands of civilian satellites previously thought disabled, small propulsion modules ignited. They were not weapons. They were reflectors. Thousands of metallic panels unfolded, forming a temporary orbital lattice. When the Concorde fired, the beam struck the lattice. Energy dispersed across hundreds of nodes. Not fully absorbed, but redirected. Portions of the blast reflected back into Concorde's shield matrices. One destroyer's shield collapsed under feedback stress. A second ship suffered core fluctuation instability. Humanity had just turned planetary annihilation into mutual damage. The Concorde fleet retreated slightly. Recalculating again. On Earth, casualties were heavy. Cities scarred. Oceans boiling in localized zones. But civilization still stood. And something new had emerged in Concorde's strategic analysis. Humanity does not react proportionally. It reacts exponentially. Every escalation multiplies their innovation. The invasion that was meant to be a demonstration of dominance was becoming a demonstration of vulnerability. And for the first time in Concorde history, their commanders began asking a question never asked before. What if we cannot win this cleanly?